Hey guys, just some little pedantic thing that's been stuck in my head for a little while. Recently watched a video by a YouTuber called I Am a Dot called I Played a Game That Hates Gameplay and I Have Thoughts. Now, I'm not really interested in discussing the game itself, as it kind of just looks bad. Even given I Am a Dot's valiant attempts to extract some kind of useful commentary from what seems to be a naive creator's misinformed polemic against his own medium. What stuck out to me is that it's basically a 2D walking simulator, and the more I thought about it, the more unhappy I am with the term walking simulator. I kind of want to treat the genre with a little bit of seriousness. I don't like the term anymore, not because it sometimes uses an insult. I think people are allowed to like or dislike whatever they please, but it's kind of become this imprecise catch-all for what I think are at least two distinct genres of interactive fiction. As far as I'm aware, the origin of the term walking simulator is from discussion around a game called Gone Home, which was a short narrative-focused experience where you basically walk around and look at things while the player character narrates at you. There might have been some light puzzle solving, but I don't know. I haven't played the game. The term entered mainstream gaming discourse because it filled the niche of describing a specific type of game that was popping up around that time. Small studios would put together visually impressive but mechanically simple experiences which eschewed most aspects of gameplay and made the player just basically a camera that could sometimes pick things up. Games like What Remains of Edith Finch, Everybody's Gone to the Rapture, the Stanley Parable, etc. Games with not a lot of gameplay but with a story to tell. And the term came about mainly because the interactivity that you did have in that genre was just walking around. Some people don't like them, others really do. I'm not really interested in relitigating that. For me, what matters is that the term clearly describes the genre, and frankly, I feel like walking sims, as they exist, fit just fine alongside visual novels within the wider category of interactive fiction. Games where there is a narrative that the creator wants to tell, and the interactive framework is really just a delivery mechanism for it. The issue is that I think there's a subcategory that disappears into the category of walking simulator, but is a distinct style of experience. I want to separate games like the Stanley Parable, Firewatch, the Fears to Fathom games, from what I feel is a fundamentally different genre that, yes, these games all have a minimal amount of gameplay, but they do so in order to focus on the story, versus, like, another genre. If I wanted to give these guys a name, I guess I would call them Shenmue-likes, sort of taking a page from the concept of a roguelike. The other genre that sometimes gets grouped in with walking simulators that I want to distinguish is like the Yume Nikki-like, or the LSD Dream Emulator-like. These are also games with a minimal gameplay, but they are not forsaking gameplay for a singular narrative, so much as they are for a vibe or an aesthetic. All of them are games mostly about walking, but you don't include Soma in the same category as you would something that's more abstract, less narrative-focused, like Scorn, or Eclipsum, or Disillusion ST, or any of the dozens of liminal space, backrooms, or Dreamcore-style games. There are some games that I think are arguable, sitting on the borderlands between the aesthetics-focused Yume Nikki-likes and the narrative-focused Shenmue-likes. I would put games where the appeal is clearly immersion in an aesthetic, but for which there is a general framing narrative, like Karamina, the anthology of the Killer games, the Chilla's art games, Ina's Dream Barbecue, Hypnagogia, Boundless Dreams, etc. That sort of spectrum between vibes-focused and story-focused, both as opposed to the more standard challenged-focused game. I'm not really sure how you want to slice this apart, but it's kind of bugging me that we don't have more precise terms for it, and maybe my effort is as doomed as that guy's, I think, Zero Punctuation's attempts to normalize the term spectacle fighter. I don't know. You guys tell me.